So great. So let's talk about what's going on in the city now. I read something in. I got an email early this morning, and it was very interesting because there's a lot of talk about the homeless population and what's going on, and Santa Clarita has been talking about doing something with the homeless population. And I found this very interesting simply because, well, I'm obviously running for the, as I announced a couple of weeks ago, for the Saugus Union School District. And they're selling a piece of property. It's 28.25 acres of land. It's over there off of, it's actually the former site of the Bouquet Canyon Elementary School. And they're selling that property to Santa Clarita. So I have Kyle Jellings in the studio here, and he's here. And it's very interesting that they're selling it to the city, and it was a school, so you really can't do homes there. So in my mind, I haven't confirmed this. I have some phone calls out to a couple of people at the city and emails. Nobody's answered me back yet, but it seems like, I hope not, that these 28 acres might be slated for a homeless shelter or some housing homeless there. It's right next to a park. It's right next to a lot of residential homes. And more importantly, it's down the street from Rosedale Elementary School. Would you like that if you live in that area right there to have a homeless shelter in the backyard?
I'm not really sure. Probably not. If it's, if my home is right there, that's probably not the population you want around.
Well, yeah, around the site, believe it or not, it's all single-family residents in the park and schools. It's actually down the street from Saugus High School. So something to think about. I don't know yet, but it just comes to mind that, wow, if that's what they're putting in here, I won't think twice about that because there's an element that comes with when you bring the homeless. Not saying the homeless are bad, but, you're bringing guys that maybe, are involved with alcohol, drugs, et cetera, and you're putting them next to a elementary school. I don't think that would be a good deal for our kids. So we'll see how that plays out. Maybe we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks. So what's going on? Waiting for in the second half, I'm waiting for my guy to call in, but just give you a little update with him. His name is Justin Brown. Let's see, he's texting me now, and he's saying, okay, I have to move a call. He's calling now, he says, so we'll see.
Ooh.
So
suspense is killing me.
Yeah, it's killing me. Oh, yeah. Are these headphones working?
Yeah, those are for you, buddy.
Good, perfect. So around town, I looked at some sites for sale, and again, there's really not too much activity going on out here, and but there's a lot of land for sale, a lot of land for development. So we have online now Justin Brown from CoStar. Justin, how are you?
I'm good, Jesus. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. So let me give you a little background for my listeners who Justin is. Justin works for CoStar Group. He's a member of the Trojan family. So fight on. And actually, he was involved in a couple national championships with USC. He was a commercial broker with Marcus and Millichap when he first started the business. And then he moved over to have a fantastic career at CoStar. He's a senior sales executive there. Welcome on the show, Justin.
Thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. So before we get started, we want to talk a little bit about yourself. And but let me ask this question: what do you think about JT Daniels as a true freshman quarterback at SC?
I got my season tickets on Saturday or Friday when they came in the mail. So we'll be there at all the games. I think usually, and I've been to many training camps, there's a long list of quarterbacks, I'm sure, that want that starting position. And if he's going to beat them all out during fall camp, then he definitely deserves a spot. And that's the way it's usually been. I haven't been there in about, I played from 2000 to 2003, so we were there for the first national championship, right, when Carroll took over for Hackett. And but I'm a little scared that he's a true freshman quarterback starting because, that's the one position where I think if we, it could change what happens in the season. I want to wait. I was there at the spring game. He looked pretty good, and sometimes those kids, they come out with no fear and they're ready to lead a team. I've seen it happen before, but I'm gonna give them all the support I can, and I just hope they have a great start to the season. So
great. I'm a season ticket holder too, so I'll be at all the games also. I won't be at this first one though against UNLV. Because I have to go down to, of all places, Kentucky. There's a Marine Corps reunion there, and meeting up with the guys I haven't seen in over 20 years. So,
that's awesome.
But I'll be watching. But one thing, about JT Daniels that, you think, hey, he's a freshman quarterback, but this guy was held back in high school. and he would be he would be playing in college now, anyways.
Yeah, well, that's common nowadays. All the
Very
football
common.
players are being held back, especially during if they don't do it when they're younger and during elementary school, it's usually 7th or 8th grade. And that was just starting to happen when I was, getting out of high school. So it's definitely a lot more prevalent now, and maybe it'll pay off for us. But I think that, I'm looking forward to the first game. We're going to go up to the Stanford game as well the weekend after. Mm-hmm. So, it's going to be, we got Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I can't wait. I've been waiting all since last year. I went to this. Actually, I went up to San Francisco to watch them play Stanford the second time around. That was a heck of a game. So I was there. I love it. So let me ask you this: you started off at Marcus and Millichap. What did you start doing there?
I came in. So when I graduated at SC, I didn't play professional football, though it would have been nice. I broke my back my last year. I had spinal fusion. It was my lower back. It wasn't, anything in terms of walking, and I wasn't going to be drafted anyway. But I thought maybe scout team. They have a great scout program in Seattle at the time, and Mike Holcomb was the coach up there, and I talked to him about it, and just to be able to walk on and see if you could make the team for a year. But after that, I became I started the SIP program at Marcus and Millichap, and I came in, interviewed with about 5 different senior brokers. I picked one that I liked. We started doing multifamily sales like most everybody there, and we did a lot of Section 8, a lot of work in South L.A., a lot of work in 90043, 90044, unincorporated L.A., non-rent control parts of L.A. and stuff like that. And I put together the marketing packages. I cold called, tons and tons, found new clients, found ways to make sure I, stayed in front of everybody that I was, reaching out to every quarter. After about a year of that, I was on my own, and I had to work the first 5 deals with my senior. So we focused more on multifamily, but then I started calling on retail as well. I work for the Encino office out here in L.A., and if those who know Encino, it does a lot of multifamily. So they wanted me to do office. I tried that and ended up feeling more comfortable with retail. So I did mostly retail and multifamily sales. I worked there till about the end of 2007. Toward that time, we had, obviously, I'll call it the change in our economy. And I lost a couple escrows, and CoStar was reaching out to me at the time. And I interviewed with CoStar at one of the worst times, and for all of us in the real estate industry over the past 15 years. So I started here, and I've been here now 11 years.
That's fantastic.
But M&M was a good platform for this, because when I walk into a broker's office or I walk into an owner, and I work with banks, and we stress test bank portfolios, and we work with brokers and appraisers and stuff like that. But I kind of know what they are going to use it for. Not just finding a comp and taking it to a client, but if they want to help people cold call or find new owners or find new clients in this market, or maybe find off-market deals that make more sense, I can help them with that as well. So it's allowed me to be here and know exactly what my clients are looking for when they're trying to, either we do a training or we set up a new appointment to help them do something, or sell them CoStar. We're able to just do it a little bit better because I've had that experience at Marcus. Perfect.
Yeah, I love off-market deals. I think 90% of my business this year has been off-market. It's been very good to me. But so for our listeners, they don't know what CoStar is. I mean, we've mentioned a lot of things. Marcus Millichap, the training ground, the cold calling. Most people don't know that, what it means or what it is. So what is CoStar?
So CoStar is a commercial real estate information tool. All right. We are a data provider. CoStar owns, and I've worked here since we were under $1 billion market cap company, by $800 million back in 2008 to $15 billion now. So I've watched our stock go from $50 to $450 over the last 11 years per share. So we've definitely been growing. We have been adding in a lot of new companies to our information side. CoStar provides, I know I work for CoStar, but CoStar provides the best commercial real estate data in the country. If it's on the brokerage side, it's for sale and for lease. Every property that hits the market, right, that somebody wants to put on the market for sale, if you want anybody to see it, we'll at least put it on CoStar or one of our other platforms. We own LoopNet, we own CityFeet, we own Showcase. For those apartment guys out there, we own Apartments.com, we own Westside Rentals, Apartment Finder. We just bought For Rent this year. We partnered with Realtor.com, Move.com, Doorsteps, and we have about 20 other companies. So it's all that data think of CoStar as a clearinghouse for information. Every single rent that's put in on apartments.com, we collect. Every single for sale property that hits LoopNet, we collect. And then once we get that information, CoStar starts just like you would start your ACT or Goldmine or whatever type of program you use to track your client relationship management CRM program. We start out with DataQuick or CoreLogic data, just like you would, and then it's sent to a researcher. The one thing that separates CoStar from every other company is the number of researchers that we have. We're up to about 1,850 researchers in CoStar.
Wow.
And there's 26 of them in Los Angeles. Our nearest competitor has about 88 researchers for the country. So I don't know how many are in L.A., but if they track the same amount of markets we do, they will have 88 researchers updating their portfolio. We'll have 1,850 researchers. CoStar provides the only company to actually do an inventory-type database. We want to try to find every single building. On top of that, we want to find the true owners, not the LLCs, not the lawyer that helped set up the LLC, but the actual owners, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, how many buildings they own, what's their phone number. We get about 25% of the email addresses and put that in CoStar for you to use as an information tool or a prospecting and business development tool.
Absolutely.
Along with just property data, lease comps, sales comps, underwriting, and if those of you that have used CoStar have seen it in the last year and a half, a whole new forecast section. So we do a lot of forecasting. For those of you that have clients that would say, what's going to happen, and are we going to have a recession in a few years? You can grab one of our forecasting reports, and the same reports that the FDIC uses, you will have access to as well.
Now, you've covered a lot of things, and just let me give a quick background. I started back in the business about 1996, right there in the same office that Justin did in Marcus and Belchap and Encino. And one thing that I remember when I was out, I worked for one of the top agents there, he said, "Hey, Zeus, I need you to go. Here's the property we're selling. I need you to go do the rent comps." So back in the old days, I would get in my car. I had a 1968 Mustang, beat, broken down, no AC. And I would get in that thing, and I would drive to the apartment building, and I'd get out of my car, and I'd say, okay, let's look at 10 buildings on this side of the street. Let's look at 10 buildings on the other side of the street. And I'd knock every door and say, hello, I'm looking to rent an apartment building. What are you renting your one-bedroom for, your two-bedroom for, your three-bedroom for? And they would tell me, and I had a clipboard, and I'd write it down. And I did that for about 20 buildings. And then I'd run back to the office and input that information in Excel. How is that different from then to now with the apartment information that you're talking about?
So for those of you who have seen apartments.com, CoStar tracks asking rents, all right? Everybody wants to get the highest possible asking rent for their building. We update every day. So we have about 550,000 multifamily buildings in the United States. About 150,000 of those are on daily feeds, okay? We also call every 30 days. So if we link using apartments.com to Yardi, Appfolio, Rent Cafe, and so on, where let's say it's Greystar or Cirrus or Moss here in the Valley, that updates their property management software. It updates in apartments.com, which then updates in CoStar. So when they up their rent $10 this week for, let's say IMT Sherman Circle in Van Nuys, we will get that information automatically put into CoStar. Also, what if somebody does not, and they don't want to update with us, they don't want to put anything on our site? We will call. There's 221 multifamily researchers. They call for rent comps. They do the same thing you did. I did the same thing at M&M. I would knock on doors. Hey, what are you paying for a one-bedroom? I did the same exact thing, and that's still great to do. I recommend people still, for larger deals, still go out. That's important. But if you're doing 5-6 deals, and all of a sudden you're doing a deal in San Diego, or maybe it's in Phoenix or something like that, we need good information without the ability to fly out and knock on some doors for rent comps. So CoStar will get all the data, yes, from our sites. But even if, obviously people are not going to update every day. And what if they don't want to update? What if they hate us and they want to use Craigslist? No problem. We call every 30 days on every single building above 20 units that has asking rent on the market. If they have asking rent below 20 units, we'll still call, but normally we track rents above 20 units because there's so many. And what we'll do is we will call either as CoStar. If they don't like that, we will call as a secret shopper just like you would. Hey, this is Bob. I have a dog. I'm looking for a two-bedroom. What do you got?
Exactly.
That's how we collect our rent comps now. Just so you know, and I know I've gone over a lot, we have a new rent comp feature in CoStar. If anybody wants to check it out, it is called collaborative filtering. You bring up a building. you can now see, because of our relationships, our other companies with apartments.com and so on, you can actually see where people are clicking around your building. I can bring up a subject property, and it's called collaborative filtering. Think about it when you go to Amazon and you're looking at a product, and it said other people have clicked on these products below. When you check out, same thing. You can bring up your building and say, when somebody clicks on IMT Sherman Circle in Van Nuys, here's the other buildings they're clicking around there. And you can actually see what your most competitive properties are. Are they charging more rent than you? Did they just put in granite countertops and stainless steel appliances and up their rent? Are they lower than you? Are you above market? And you can actually see where the public is going. And that's been one of our newest features for multifamily, and it's been very successful.
So fantastic. So CoStar's not just for the broker like me that's analyzing a property. I'm trying to get a gauge of where the subject property's rents are, if they're above market, below market. It's not just for brokers or owners. It's actually for other people. I mean, anybody can go on here and take a look if they have a subscription, obviously, and take a look and see where the rents are.
We work with most of my clients. I run our debt and equity group here in Los Angeles. So I mostly work, and I have my broker clients I've known for years, such as yourself and some of my big firms, but 99% of my business comes from either investor owners or financial services. Those investor owners could be REITs. They could be, an owner with 5 buildings. Most smaller owners are not. They're usually going to contact you, right? They're going to ask you for the rents. They're going to contact a broker, and we want people to work with brokers. But, if you're talking about an owner that owns 20, 30 buildings and has $1 billion market, worth of properties, they always normally, 90% of them are going to use an in-house data source. Whether it's us or somebody else, they will definitely have an in-house data source. So we work with all of those guys. The more we work with, the more relationships we form, and the better our data gets as well.
Got it. Now, I'll vouch for what you said earlier today. Of course, you want to use CoStar for the data, but in addition to that, you do want to hit the streets. You want to go look at the building. You want to talk to the neighbors, see where everybody's at. Sometimes there's some other things that you're not taking into account. Maybe there's amenities. There's like a pool. How does the building look from the exterior? Why is he getting a higher rent than you, et cetera, et cetera. So I agree with that. Moving along with CoStar, one feature that I like that we didn't really talk about was, you mentioned it quickly, was CoStar will do a whole forecasting or analysis of the building as far as rent, sales comps, and give you an idea what a building is worth, correct?
Correct. We will not have an estimate or an estimate, as some people have seen from sites such as Zillow. I don't think we ever will. Because what if, you want to sell a building for a price, the owner thinks it's X price, we think it's Y price. We will come out with everything else. So CoStar has new multifamily as well as office, industrial, and so on, underwriting reports. These can be defaulted into one click, where CoStar will choose the on-market rent comps. They will choose the sales comps. We'll have our sub-market forecast, which is like Van Nuys, Santa Clarita, and we will have our market forecast, which is LA. And when you bring that up, you can customize it however you like, and I prefer that you do. But if you're in a hurry, CoStar will put in, all right, here's the average price per unit, price per square foot, cap rate, rents, price per square foot of rents, all the way. And you could obviously put in, if you're doing a Class A property, it's 100-plus units in Santa Clarita, I want to stick to those buildings. I'm not going to put in a 10-unit building that's Class C in Santa Clarita. There's no reason. So we do a really good job putting that information in, having your logo on everything, and it spits out about a 100, 120-page report. You can customize everything, so if you don't need something that big, of course you can drop it down and do a more condensed version. But that is one of our newest reports for multifamily, and it's been very popular.
Hold on to that thought for a second. We have Justin Brown from CoStar Group calling in today. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the Commercial Hour with Jesus Henao.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top-quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row, and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. I want to stress to you how important it is to get proper advice on what to do in case of emergencies. Always know where your shutoff valves are to be able to isolate it and have the problem taken care of on regular hours and avoid expensive plumbing bill. We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Plumbing by Kirk.
Santa Clarita's hometown station. Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Commercial Hour with Jesus Henao, Leola Commercial. I have Justin Brown of CoStar on the line. Justin, how can we get a hold of you? How can somebody get a hold of you and get CoStar?
They can just reach out. Either send me an email. It's pretty simple. Just jbrown, JBROWN @CoStar.com. Or give me a call. It's 310-256-0618.
Perfect.
And I'll be here, all the time.
Perfect. Sounds great. Yeah, I've been working with Justin for a couple of years now, and fantastic. Everything he said on the services CoStar is right on. If you need quick numbers, what's funny, Shane? We talked about this in when I first started the show. I try to educate people on cap rates, price per unit, price per square foot, and I said, look, if you know these indicators, you're good. And it's funny, you mentioned all those: price per unit, price per square foot, cap rate, and GRM. It's pretty funny that you mentioned that, because I talk about it and you say, these guys in here saying, oh, yeah, that sounds cool, but it is the vernacular of commercial real estate. So outside of CoStar, you also have a service called LoopNet. Talk to us about LoopNet. How does that work?
Now, LoopNet, and we've changed this as of October of last year, is our marketing and advertising tool. So LoopNet for commercial brokers or owners that do their own in-house or use third-party brokers who want to get more eyeballs to view their for sale or their for lease properties on the market can get a subscription to advertise on LoopNet, CityFeet, Showcase, and, of course, CoStar. It's free to advertise on CoStar. You can always put any building on CoStar at no charge. You don't have to be a client. We would love to have your information. If you want the public to see it, and what people get confused is LoopNet is for the public. It is for if you have a 2,000 square foot space for lease or a multifamily building for sale in Santa Clarita, and you want to make sure that everybody can see it. The number one search site in the country for commercial real estate transactions is going to be LoopNet. All right. Number 2 is CityFeet. Number 3 is Showcase, and number 4 is CoStar, and we own them all. So if you want to get one ad for a building to put it on the market for sale, you can. It'll be seen by about 7 million people a month on average, or you can get 10, 20, and then we have, of course, different types of ads, diamond, platinum, gold, that you get different services with depending on, how much exposure you would like.
And who's subscribing? Who's putting their stuff up? Is there mom and pops putting their retail space for lease or their office for lease? How does that work? Who's advertising?
Most all of our clients are brokers and agents.
Okay.
So we do have large owners, of course. Take Douglas Emmett, for an example, who's my client. Douglas does a lot of their work in-house. They also use third-party brokers, and they do a lot of advertising on LoopNet in Los Angeles, but they're a very big owner. Yes, you will find that 1, 2, couple different types of owner users who, let's say, an owner who has their real estate license who should use a broker but still wants to put it on LoopNet. They still can. We have an e-commerce tool as well as, which means you can go online, sign up, or you can call me. It depends on, usually if you call us, we give more customer service, a little bit better deals and so on. But anybody can put their property on there, all right? But we encourage, it is a broker, basically the broker MLS for all commercial real estate in the U.S., if you want somebody to see it.
And how does that differ from the MLS? I mean, how does people hear the MLS and I hear that they say MLS and they think MLS for commercial, but what is the difference?
So the MLS has multifamily, all right? Multifamily, I used to go on there all the time and search for multifamily properties. However, the MLS has, I would say, 10% of the amount of views that we actually have. In the MLS, you cannot get, what if I'm looking for a building, 10 units, Santa Clarita, I want to go on Google. 85% of people, when they search for either a space for lease or property for sale, and we've done studies on this, will go to Google and they will type in searches like Santa Clarita apartments for sale, or maybe Santa Clarita retail space for lease. Whatever you can think of, that's how they usually search to bring up what's on the market. Now, this is your average tenant, maybe a buyer that's looking to buy their first, second, third, fifth multifamily building. When they do that, all of you out there can go right now and go to Google and type in Santa Clarita apartments for sale or Santa Clarita retail for lease. You will see how many times we come up on the first page. LoopNet, CityFeet, Showcase. We give the ability for anybody to not just put something on the MLS. We want more exposure than that. The MLS does not give as much exposure as we can, because we have, if you were to add up every site in the country that does this, they wouldn't even come close to how many views we get per month.
Yeah, I agree. Once again, we have Justin Brown from CoStar Group calling in today. You can reach him at jbrown@costar.com. And what's interesting enough, you say that MLS is geared a lot to residential brokerage. And you have to subscribe to the MLS, so you can't get it for free like the LoopNet. So the people there are really residential brokers. Now, what is the difference between that residential broker and a commercial broker? Because I hear this a lot. Oh, I'm with the MLS, or I'm a realtor. How is that different from what we do?
So the difference is we have a term for people that try to do both, which is residential, and that's our own word here.
Residential?
We call them residential.
I've never heard that before. That's great.
Yeah, so a residential broker, when I talk with other people, this is my interpretation of it, but a residential broker worries about, they like the pool. They're selling to a family that are looking to move. Is there enough space? Has enough room for my dog? All these questions, if you ever bought a house, those are what residential brokers do. They go to open houses. They work on the weekends, all right? Commercial brokers work with...
Oh, you forgot one thing. They're the ones with that big, call me if you want to sell your home on the back of the SUV sticker on the window.
Or the bus stops. We buy cash for houses, all that kind of stuff as well. Those guys have their picture on everything. Commercial brokers don't. That's the only thing.
And the funny thing is, usually that picture they have is like their high school graduation picture, and they've been doing it for like 30 years.
I had a broker. I had a RE/MAX broker. Just a little sidetrack really quick. I had a broker in CoStar. A company can put their logo on all our comps reports. So the broker went in. He put his photo, but it's only one photo per company, not for user. So all these agents at my RE/MAX office were printing out their comps, and this guy's face is at the bottom of it. And they take them in their meetings. It's just kind of funny. So commercial brokers, they worry about cap rates. They work with investors, people looking to invest their money, not in the stock market, not in bonds, but they want to invest in commercial real estate. They're looking for a return. Either it's cash, or maybe it's value added, or it's equity. Commercial brokers work with investors looking to make money, and I always think that's an easier type of sales. I want to work with those guys. I want them to buy 10 buildings from me, not just one house, all right? And that's the difference, I think, the main one between commercial and residential brokers.
That's right. Yeah, amazing. So if you're listening out there and you're thinking, I'm just going to talk to my friend who's a realtor and I'm going to put up my my 10, 15 unit building with them, you're not going to get that much exposure, right?
For sure. If they talk, they're going to have to also, is that broker going to pay? And CoStar is not the cheapest of services. LoopNet can be, depending on what you want to buy, can be, very cheap or very expensive, just depending on how much exposure you want. But if they don't have a relationship with that already, to be able to say, okay, here's all the tools I need to be able to sell your building, especially in this market, at a 4 cap or a 4.5, depending on what the area is. But we're seeing some amazing prices right now for those of you in the market who are thinking about selling. All right, so you want to just go with a broker who has those relationships with other buyers, as well as all the tools you would need to get the best possible price for your property.
And I think that's where the disconnect is, because I think you hit it on the nose. When you're selling, and that's not a knock to residential brokers, because they're good at what they do. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go on the weekends and, walk in and be there waiting with an open house with a plate of cookies.
And
you're looking at the place, and the guy's like, yeah, I like it, but, I don't like where the kitchen is. And I would not want to do that. I want to talk about numbers. Hey, how much am I investing? What is my return on investment? How am I sheltering my money through depreciation? What is my strategy for a 5-10 year hold? And then let's get rid of it. Let's trade up. That's what I want to deal with. I'm in the office looking at numbers, and I want my weekends for myself. So I get that. That's the big disconnect with the residential side. In addition to that, if you're going to list your building, you want somebody that knows how to look at the numbers, how to analyze it, how to look at the upside potential in the building, whether that be through a rehab process, whether that be through raising rents, whether that be an exterior paint job, or et cetera, et cetera. You want somebody that has knowledge with that than a guy that just is at an open house on the weekends. Correct?
Well, for sure. Yeah, and all of you out there, too, thinking, a 1031 exchange, I want to bring that up as well. You want a commercial broker to be able to help you save as much on your taxes as well as sell your building. And just there's so much more that goes into a sale on the commercial side than there is on the residential side. And that's why having a specialist commercial broker is so important for someone who really wants to maximize the value of their asset.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk a little bit on the data on where have you seen the market, from 2007 where the market tanked, where have you seen prices gone? Just let's say in the San Fernando Valley, where do you think things have gone?
Oh, they've skyrocketed up. I mean, if you look at an average, and I'm bringing up the San Fernando Valley, I live there, or I live in Sherman Oaks. So I was born in Tarzana, grew up in Chatsworth, went to Chaminade High School and USC. So with all of that, we've seen price per unit, price per square foot increase tremendously. And we're talking, cap rates have gone from about, especially during the recession, averaging 6.7 in the valley, 6.6, 6.8. We saw some at 7, 7.2. These are averages. Obviously, we had a little bit higher, a little bit lower.
Sure.
All right. Now, and I'm talking about Van Nuys. I own a part of a building in Van Nuys. I own a 10-unit in Van Nuys myself, so I track the market a lot. But it's not Beverly Hills, obviously. But for Van Nuys, we're averaging now cap rates in the low 4s for Van Nuys. So just think of that. Low 4, 4.2, 4.4, 4.5 cap rates in the Van Nuys area has been. People don't believe me. You can bring up our comps right now. I can show you where the trends have gone over the last, let's say, 12, 13 years since we've started to come out of the recession back in 2011. Only 2011 because that's when we saw our first hint of a drop in vacancy. All right, so for that, if you were to bring up, I would say the last 12, ever since we had a recession or started to come out with it, we have not seen ever a higher rate of growth in terms of value, equity, if you own the property, obviously, equity, increase in price per square foot, increase in price per unit, higher GRMs and lower caps than we've ever seen since we've been tracking data since the early 80s.
Now, would you say that the 4.5 cap, is that for a rent-controlled property or a non-rent control building?
That's an average that's actually both, all right, in Van Nuys. If I was to separate that out, you will get a little bit lower cap rates, not as much as you would think, but I would say maybe a quarter to a half a point, a little bit lower for properties that are non-rent control, especially in that area because you're able to get higher rents.
It's crazy. I just sold at the beginning of the year, I sold a 32 unit in Panorama City. Panorama City, okay, at a 3.91 cap.
There you go. And I'm looking at Panorama City. I mean, Sun Valley, I love that area. I look at that area all the time.
I grew up in Sun Valley.
Perfect. Sun Valley right now has a market cap of 5.02, and that's an average, all right? If you were to actually look at the sales behind that we've actually seen, and I'm bringing up a couple examples here, but if you were to look at just some of the sales in the last few months that we were actually seeing, I have a 4.2 cap, I have a 4.8, a 3.9, another one.
Wow.
And that's Panorama City, where I used to love, Panorama City, Sun Valley, Van Nuys, areas like that.
Arleta.
I've always liked those areas because you can still find stuff that's relatively affordable, at least for the person trying to buy it as well. We've seen that change quite a bit, especially since 2015. Now, what happened in 2015, 2016 that caused, I think that's when we saw the largest rent increases we've ever seen in the history of Los Angeles. If you go back and look at the rent increases for 2015 and 2016, you're looking at 5 to 6% per year. Not like for the 2 years, per year. Right now, we're averaging about, what was it? Here we go. Right now, we're averaging about 2.7, 3.2, depending, and that's fine for rent growth. It can't stay that rate forever. People aren't going to be able to, to even rent. Right now, 52% of the population of Los Angeles cannot buy a house. They have to rent.
Wow.
Which is why multifamily, we're 20,000 units under. We need to build 20,000 more units in LA just to keep up with how many units we need for people to live. So that's why rents have gone up and gone up and gone up, which is why now it's such a great time to sell as well.
Now, let me ask you this. We have on the ballot in November, I think it's Proposition 10, the removal of the Costa-Hawkins law.
Yeah.
How do you, if they repeal that and they get rid of that law, and now the cities can enact their own rent control, and LA is going to do it. What do you think what's going to happen to values? What's your prediction on that? We had somebody, we just talked about this maybe 4 or 5 shows ago. We had an attorney in. We're talking about that. Well, what's your take? What do you think will happen?
So I think it'll pass, especially because most people will not see. I don't think it should. I think it actually stifles growth. We need more places being built. We need more construction. We don't need less. We need more jobs. We don't need less. All right? And this is going to hurt all of that. Now, I think it'll pass definitely in November because people are going to say, oh, it'll also lower your rent. That's all they're going to see. Hey, this will make my rent lower. Great, let's pass it. All right? I think that some cities such as Santa Monica and West Hollywood and stuff like that, will have that already have rent control policies in place. It won't affect that much, but especially in places like the Valley, Santa Clarita and stuff, I don't know if what's going to happen there. I
don't think Santa Clarita will pass rent control here.
Got it. Okay, but I know they will in parts of the Valley, and I think if they do, I think it'll stifle the number of sales, and it's going to stifle rent growth. And the only thing that, really shoots up a market and why people build, all right? And I think it's important to talk about this building thing. The reason why people build is because they see increased rent growth. And that's how we get more units, all right? More and more and more and more and more units. That's why you're starting to seeing Class A properties in Van Nuys. You're starting to see, look at Koreatown right now and how many properties are being built there. It's insane. That's because we've seen such an increase in rent growth. I think that's going to change if this is passed because people are going to step back and say, all right, what's going to happen? And things might, I don't think it's going to just be total stop, of course. You're still going to have business. People are going to still sell, but people that might have bought that building or they might have built that property are just going to take a step back and say, all right, let's see what's going to happen now. All right?
Well, here's one thing you have to think about, too. Does it make sense to build? Because the construction costs aren't going down. The economy's hot. So, I've talked to a lot of developers. You're looking at maybe $250 to $300 a square foot to build. And the numbers will not make sense if you cannot rent the units at a market rate. If the rents are controlled, because that's what the Costa-Hawkins law does. If you get rid of it, it gives you vacancy control, meaning when you move out of that unit, right now you can rent to whatever you want, whatever the market bears. But if they put vacancy control, that means that the government or LA is going to come in and tell you, hey, that one-bedroom apartment, we don't want you to rent it for $1,500, $1,800. We want you to rent it for $900. Then it doesn't make economic sense to build anymore. And then you hit it on the nail on the head. We need 20,000 units, and if you can't build and it doesn't make sense, who's going to build?
No one.
No one.
Honestly, they're gonna. Look at and anybody living in LA can hear this. You can see the effect it's having on even the homeless population that we've seen. People cannot get housing that definitely need housing, and we need more. We don't need more Class A. People are building a lot of Class A right now, but still Class B, Class C properties, and so on. I've seen new buildings go up for that. We need more of those, and people aren't. They might not take the risk. The one thing I know that if it is repealed, that the cities would have to pass their own legislation, all right,
yes,
to put in something new into effect. At least that gives certain cities I could see. I don't know. Obviously, the different government agencies in every city what they're going to do. But that could give some cities the flexibility to maybe, move forward with their own type of legislation that might be good. They might want people to build or so on. But I just think it creates more bureaucracy, and we don't need more bureaucracy when it comes to
That's
this
right.
anymore.
And I think you hit there's a couple places. I think Pasadena rejected, they tried to enact some form of rent control in Pasadena. That got shut down. They tried it in Long Beach. That got shut down. So I think where the hot areas are going to be are those places that don't have rent control. Those cap rates are going to go down, prices are going to go up, and most likely you're going to see more construction in those cities, which is great. But
we've seen that in Long Beach already.
Yeah,
we've seen it in Long Beach.
Yeah, and what you see, like in L.A. City itself, you're going to see not enough buildings being built. It's already tough to get anything built in the city. Just to deal with the government there is just horrible. A lot of red tape. So you're not going to get. It's going to be hard in the city. Rent control I just think it's going to be bad. And I think values. We didn't talk a little bit about values, but I think values will go down also. I think they will go south because now your building is not worth what it could be.
I totally agree because right now the law allows you when a tenant moves out, you can raise that room to market rent. Now you're going to have a city that's going to tell you how much you can raise it for. And because of that, that's going to curb some people from going into a market saying, oh, I'm going to buy this property and I'm going to have a chance to do, how many of you out there look at the pro forma numbers when buying a property? Everybody is going to look at what they can make on a building. And this is going to hurt that.
That's right. Once again, we have Justin Brown online, a CoStar group. We're going to take a small break and we'll be back to wrap it up. Thank you again, Justin. Hang on tight, and we'll be back in a short few moments.
I just want to send a shout out to all my customers. It's Dave Reeves from Reeves Complete Auto Center in Canyon Country.
Reeves, Santa Clarita's choice for quality customer and automotive care.
I've been in automotive service my whole life. I learned customer service and honest communication make the difference.
Reeves, where customers matter.
I really appreciate your business and hope to serve you in the future. Thank you very much.
Reeves, on Ruther in Canyon Country.
Six Flags smashes another world record with a new Crazanity. Coming soon, the world's tallest, the world's fastest, most extreme ride of its kind. Reach speeds up to 75 miles an hour as you soar 170 feet above the thrill capital of the world. For the best summer savings, save big at SixFlags.com. Go for the most coasters on the planet and go crazy on the new Crazanity. Go big. Go Six Flags.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association is hosting our annual gala, the Art Classic, Saturday, September 29th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. This fundraiser highlights professionally judged original artwork by local artists in all mediums. For only $25, you can enjoy live music, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and meet the artists in person. The Art Classic will be held at Hart Hall in Hart Park. All artwork will be on display for free public viewing Sunday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit us at santaclaritaartists.org.
Your hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
All right, welcome back to the Commercial Hour. This is Jesus Henao with Leola Commercial. I have Justin Brown on the line with CoStar Group. And Justin, we talked a lot about a bunch of things, about CoStar, LoopNet. Now, in this last piece of the segment here, and I told you it's gone really fast, and it always goes fast on the show. It's unbelievable. But I always, at the end of the show, I always like to reach out to the young guy that just graduated high school. He's in college. 2 years in, he's thinking, what do I do? Where do I go? What advice do you got somebody that's in college and is looking for career options? He's got 2 years in. They've done their general ed, and now they're looking to make a move somewhere. What do you recommend for these guys?
Well, I mean, if they want a career in real estate, all right, there's a couple different ways I've seen people go, and either I tell most of them that I prefer still right now, if they want to actually sell properties and they want to be able to be in control of their own business, there's no better place to learn than one of the large brokerage firms. And you can stay there for a year or two or however long you want to stay there, but they provide really good training. You started there. I started there, okay? And I've seen kids come in and just succeed really well. They learn the business. They're doing deals, right? There's no substitute for actually doing deals.
That's right.
I've also seen kids come where I work, right? So here, they get to learn all of the stuff that goes into you don't have to do a deal to work for CoStar. We got people that work all different kinds of. It's still sales and consulting as well. I call it sales and consulting because we do trainings. We tell people, how to do this or how to do that and use our data to accomplish it. But if you're coming here, too, at CoStar, you're able to actually see how owners or banks or brokers also do their deals, and you get trained on that. We have a really good training program here. You get flown back east and so on and so forth. There's also the third option would be if you wanted to go in and intern, right? When I was in college, I played football, so I didn't really intern, but I had a lot of friends that would intern at either, Take 3D Investments or the Gray Star. Maybe it's True America. They're going to intern for the summer. I have a client down in El Segundo, tons of interns he hires every summer. Some of those interns come out to be great brokers, or they come out in the acquisitions team for an owner. But those are some areas to look at. And whatever school you're in, SC, whether it's College of the Canyons, if you look at their alumni site, you will see so many people in commercial real estate. All you got to do is email them, reach out. There's a ton of them at the Trojan alumni site. I used to look for people to intern for me when I'm here on that site, and there is a ton of people in commercial real estate. All you have to do is reach out. Brokerage, the information side, which is what I do, owners and acquisitions, financial services even. But those are the areas I would see you should, just take a look at and try to get a summer internship or an internship for a few months at either one of those jobs. And I think you might really have an idea of how the business works.
Absolutely, and myself too. I've trained a lot of people also in the business, and I've had some guys go on to have great careers. And I also do internships as well. With a smaller firm, you have a little more personal, one-on-one time versus a big classroom setting. So, but there are opportunities out there. Now, what makes you? What advice can you give somebody to succeed?
I would say the two things is obviously,
and the reason why I ask is because you've succeeded. Obviously, in the football program, at the highest level, you're succeeding in your business. You succeeded as a broker. What separates, I would say, the winners from the losers out there?
It's going to be what's most important. And I learned this in brokerage actually. Is it's the people who can constantly keep and grow their pipeline, and all that means is if you have to, we're all in sales. I'm in sales too at CoStar.
No, but
right?
hold on a second. What I'm talking about is personal development. And I'm not necessarily talking about brokerage. I'm talking advice for the young guy out there, undecided. He's hanging out with the boys on the weekend. He's at the club. He's doing this. He's doing that. What is a difference maker for somebody that is going to succeed and not succeed? What advice do you give them?
I would give them to just in terms of advice for life, and what I do is it's going to be starting your day with a routine. Honestly, I mean, to be honest with you, just getting in a routine of, okay, I know some people out there might not know what they want to do, but let's just say tomorrow you really want to change, you want to change your life around. You might want to start a new position. You're coming out of college. It's going to be motivation. What's going to motivate you? Why do you want to get up in the morning to do that job? For me, I love what I do here. I'm very passionate about it. All right, I make good money doing it, so I want to keep that going. And it's been 11 years, but even when I first started here, my motivation here was to be better than anybody else. All right, I have that competitive drive in me, and I think a lot of people in real estate, that's why you see a lot of athletes and so on, have that competitive drive. So if you're competitive and you have, you want to find what motivates you, you have to just get out there and try some brand new things. You might not like it, you might fail one time, but believe me, you're going to find out what you really want to do in life. And so some of you who might want to take this career into consideration are going to be great at it, and it's going to change your life.
Absolutely. And you said something that was spot on. Have a routine. I have a routine. I share this with my guys that I train. I said, look, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I get my workout in. I get in the office by 7:30. I do some research, studying, look at what's going on in the markets, read what's happening, keep up with the current events. Obviously, there's a little sports section in there, too, that I mix in with that. And then from, 9 o'clock till 10 o'clock, I'm on the phones. I'm banging the phones. I have a little small lunch. I take maybe a 15-minute lunch. Then I'm back on the phones. And in the afternoons, I take it for either more cold calling, doing proposals, meeting clients, walking buildings, etc. By 6 o'clock, 6:30, I'm wrapping up the day. But before I wrap up the day, I'm looking at what do I have to do tomorrow? What's the most important thing? And I make a list of what I need to do when I come in. So next day, I come in, I'm already running. I'm already ahead of the game. And that's such great advice. You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're only planning to fail.
Yeah,
Great
and
advice.
the good thing also, I do the same thing in the morning. I have every night when I get home, I have a follow-up list. People that I have contracts out with, people that need to close, people I need to follow up with, people I need to send an email to, or I have work to do for them. And so I also add to that just a little bit. When I come home from work, the people who succeed, at least in my business, also work on the weekends. I work on Sundays, every Sunday. All right, not on Saturdays, but before Monday starts, I want to have all my emails done. So I work 2, 3, 4 hours on a Sunday night, and I usually work a couple nights a week for 2, 3, 4 hours when I get home from work. I know it sounds like a lot, but just that little extra work is going to make the difference between you and the next guy, and that's going to make you succeed.
Absolutely. I do a different type of work on Sunday, but on Saturday is when I get my 2 to 3 hours, and if I can in the morning. And believe it or not, we used to when I was on M&M with John Walsh, we'd have a Saturday cold call, and we'd come in and we'd cold call 3 hours on a Saturday in the morning, 9 to 12. We knocked that out, and that made the difference. It's doing the little things and doing the extra things that will help you succeed. And
he had that when I was there too, by the way. When I was there, he had the same thing. We came in on Saturdays and we would call from like 9 to 1.
Yep, absolutely. And those are the things that are going to help you succeed. But there are a lot of people out there, a lot of the younger generation, that expect the things to fall in your lap, things to happen, and it doesn't work that way. You have to affect the situation. You have to make the difference. You have to contribute. You have to do it, and you'll succeed if you do that.
I do definitely agree.
Fantastic. Okay, we're wrapping up. Thank you again, Justin, for coming in. If you want to get a hold of Justin and get on LoopNet, get on CoStar, you can reach him at jbrown@costar.com. Once again, thank you for coming in. Fight on, and I look forward to an awesome season, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks,
thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, all people listening out there in Santa Clarita, this is Jesus Henao in the Commercial Hour. Thank you for listening. We won't be in next week because it's Labor Day, but we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks.
You're going places, and College of the Canyons can get you there. Didn't get into the school you applied to, or maybe it's too expensive. Why not start at College of the Canyons, where it's only $46 per unit? COC also offers financial aid, classes that use free textbooks, and a promise program that allows qualifying full-time, first-time students to go to COC tuition-free their first year. Visit canyons.edu now. That's canyons.edu.
Join City of Hope today in the fight against cancer. Make a difference by participating in City of Hope's Together for Hope, presented by Antelope Valley Hospital and High Desert Medical Group on Saturday, September 15th. Be a part of this inaugural event in partnership with City of Hope Antelope Valley and show your support toward groundbreaking research to treat and cure cancer. They welcome everyone to their 2K walk, 5K run in honor of the individuals in our lives affected by cancer. City of Hope, the miracle of science with soul. Join the movement today by registering at togetherforhope.org.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 1 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
Flag debate, Mexico deal. I'm Mike Moss. In his final words to the nation, John McCain is urging Americans to look beyond challenging times. His words read by close friend Rick Davis.
If only we remember that and give each other